Welcome into the Dice Dragons Guild. In this hall, we unite under one banner. Live by the die.
Die by the die.
Ooh, whoa. Oh, I gotta write these down. All right. Let's go around.
13.
Oh, Kethra got a 13.
I got a double digit.
Nice.
7.
Ooh.
Oh.
The single digit just shifting down into the spot.
Yep, we're going with the expected numbers here.
9 as well.
Oh.
Twinsies. 6.
6.
Upside down 9. It's okay.
Let me see what I got. Oh, I even got a 5. So.
Oh, shoot.
All right, Kethra, you're
Big
kicking
13
it off.
with the win.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
Hope we shouldn't have to do much talking. Get you guys in some trouble.
Wow. Thank you for joining us. I am your lore master, Izzi, and with me I have...
I heard that as Lord and Master.
I am your lord and master. We're going to go with you.
What? Why?
With me I have...
I am Cuba, and I'm playing Ayla, the beautiful tiefling bard.
Point at the next person.
No, I was going to say not me. I was going to say,
Didn't
no,
do
no,
it
no,
in
you're
time.
going to do that. I am Amanda, and I play Iolite. Am I supposed to say more?
No,
Oh,
you're
it's
just-
points.
Oh. We're gonna get it down.
I am Julie, and I play Kethra Evermoon.
I am Adam, and I play Eldon Strockhaven.
You don't want to know what he pays for.
Where's the coins? I'm Adam. I play Eldon Strockhaven.
I can't go unless you point. This isn't point. Oh. I'm Patrick. I play Kai.
All right.
So we don't take a regular tape measure.
All right. If you are watching on YouTube, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button. But also, we invite you to consider becoming a member of our channel. You will gain access to exclusive badges, early access to VODs, and after-session debriefs and Q&A, which we also have on Patreon. So you can check out the perks over there. We also share some of our character art and stuff like that as we get it. Patrons also get gifts like keychains and dice trays and opportunities to win merch a little bit sooner than other folks. We also have a big welcome to our free Patreon patrons. Thank you for joining us, and we're still trying to get to that 50 number. We're still at 30. Share with your friends. It's totally free. If you're hanging out on Twitch, hi Fitz. We thank you for joining us. I get live again Sundays, 4 p.m. Eastern. We're a little bit late today because life happens. We're keeping it low pressure. We're going to engage in chat before the game starts. How goes the best damn group on the planet? Well, I don't know. How's Critical Role or Dimension 20?
I was just going to make that joke.
We don't know them personally, so.
They're on the West Coast. We're the East Coast.
Yeah.
We're
They're
the
probably
East
getting
Coast
ready.
Critical Role.
You can
Oh,
use
you
your,
fucking dice kid.
You said it, not me.
you can use your channel points to give nat 20s, lucky points, and auto successes to the DM. And that is before we start the game. Fitz is convinced that we are the best group.
Well, it's very
Thank you,
sweet of
babe.
you. A
Thank
little
you,
delusional,
babe.
but very sweet.
Convince 1,000 others.
Merch, you can go to tinyurl.com/DDG merch, and you can see on our last VOD, 2 VODs ago, session 41, we have a giveaway link. I don't know if anybody's claimed it yet, but at the very end, there's a link. You can click it, and whoever does first, you get your very own merch from us for free. So,
One-time use.
One-time use.
Whoever gets it first gets it. You have to
Indeed.
watch the entire thing.
well, not anymore.
Oh,
they live there.
now I look like I don't know what I'm talking about.
You can go to the VOD when it's premiering. Yes, at the very end, you can be first come first served. Now you can claim it. So Fitz, I know that you didn't do it at first, but it's still there. If it's still there, feel free.
Do it.
Enclave returns tomorrow night, Monday at 8:30 p.m. right here on our Twitch channel. It is a diceless ttrpg, and we are lucky enough to have the creator, Robbie Howell, who is going to be running it. Our players tomorrow are Wookie Goldberg, Garnet Rose, and Cheese Cat. So we'll see you tomorrow at 8:30 p.m. And then we are also getting things ready for the Midnight World, which we will also have the pleasure of having my friend Gavin, one of the co-creators, who will be running that as well. More on our Discord, and we'll share that as we get closer. And our giveaways, I will announce at the beginning of the VODs where we're going to have those giveaway links at the end. We're not going to do it every single one. It'll be like once a month. So go check out session 41 and see if you can still claim that prize. Anything I'm forgetting?
Nope.
All right. In the soft, golden glow of dawn, Valoria Duskridge stood defiantly at the precipice of her old life, the sprawling mansion of her lineage a mere shadow against the light of her resolve. Her bags packed with not just the essentials but also the heavy burden of expectations, whispered promises of the grand tales that awaited her. Today she would stride into the pages of legend alongside the woven fates, no longer a mere spectator to her own story. With each determined step towards the embrace of the sleeping wilds, her heart was a drumbeat of anticipation, racing with visions of valor and camaraderie. In her mind's eye, she painted vibrant scenes of her heroic acceptance among the ranks of the woven fates, her laughter mingling with theirs around campfires, her blades swift and true in the dance of battle. She envisioned herself returning a hero reborn from the crucible of adventure, her name a testament to her bravery, a stark defiance of her father's skepticism. But as the dense, whispering threshold of the wilds drew near, a shroud of doubt began to cloud those sunlit fantasies. The welcoming visions morphed into specters of rejection, scornful whispers echoing the deepest fears instilled by years under her father's dismissive gaze. Would her presence be more of a hindrance than a help? The possibility of being seen as an unwelcome burden, an interloper, cast a chilling pall over her dreams of acceptance and belonging. Poised on the cusp of the unknown, staring up at the tall and foreboding ancient guardians of the jungle, Valoria's dreams wilted under the gaze of imagined failures. The call of adventure, once a clarion promise of purpose and belonging, now seemed a siren song leading her toward her own undoing. With a heart heavier than all her packed belongings, Valoria stopped and turned around. Her retreat a silent litany of what-ifs and might-have-beens. Each step of her solitary march back to the confines of the Duskridge estate was a reminder of the line she dared not cross. The closing of the gates behind her was not just the end of her attempted escape, but a somber acceptance of a life lived in the shadows of potential. She lingered for a moment within the anti-magic field just inside the estate walls, the ever-present hum of the weave momentarily silenced. Yet, in the quiet aftermath of her retreat, amidst the swirling maelstrom of disappointment and self-reproach, there flickered a defiant ember. This moment of faltering, though bitter, was not the end. Valoria Duskridge stepped forward, allowing the hum of the magic of this world to permeate through her body. Today, the sleeping wilds had won, but tomorrow remained unwritten, a canvas still blank, and vast as the very adventure she yearned to claim.
Don't we all feel like jerks for not letting her come with us now?
No.
No.
Because
Well, okay, doesn't one of our entire
this
group
was
feel
good
like a
for
jerk?
her because I'm assuming she doesn't know that she was impersonated. Because if she showed up wearing those voices, she goes, "Hey guys, this is so good." We turn around and be like, "It's the shapeshifter!"
And you just give the poor Valoria a beat down.
Like, why?
In the lavish chambers of the royal quarters, anticipation crackled in the air like static before a storm. Tonight was yet another suitor presentation masquerading as a dinner party. Mallory, your twin sister and steadfast companion, moved with purpose amidst the ornate trappings of her attire, her demeanor a mix of trepidation and cautious optimism. Kai, could you lend me a hand with this clasp? Mallory's voice pierced the silence of the room as she struggled with the intricacies of her gown. You stepped forward, your movements fluid as you reached to assist her. What did you say?
You know, normally you would have a servant do this. Why did you send them away?
Mallory's lips curve into this wistful smile, and her eyes reflect this flicker of uncertainty dances within them. You're the only one that I would want near to me tonight. I am determined to approach this with an open mind. After all, surprises can come from the most unexpected places.
And for us, they normally do.
Yes. Speaking of surprises, I have one for you tonight as well. Mallory's gaze kind of softens as she meets your eyes, this like glimmer of mischief that you have grown accustomed to as much as one can. Did you say anything in this moment?
You were always more clever than me. What could it be?
Well, you will find out. Just because I am next in line for the throne doesn't mean you should be left to your own devices. And besides, I'll always be here for you, regardless of what the future may hold. Her words resonated with a depth of sincerity that touched your soul, reaffirming the unbreakable bond that bound you together through the trials of life. As you both made your way down the grand hall towards the ballroom, the air hummed with anticipation, the soft strains of music drifting through the opulent corridors like a siren song. Finally, the moment arrived as the private secretary for your grandmother, the Queen, stepped forward, their voice ringing out with regal authority to herald your entrance. Esteemed guests of the realm, may I present to you Her Royal Highness Princess Mallory Morningstar and His Royal Highness Prince Malachi Morningstar. The room fell into a reverent hush as all eyes turned towards you and Mallory, their gazes alighting upon the royal siblings with a mixture of awe and reverence. As always, the twins stood in oppositional solidarity. Kai hating the attention, Mallory reveling in it. She squeezed your hand. As you scanned the assembled crowd, your eyes met those of a mysterious young woman across the room. Clad in elegant finery, she exuded an air of quiet grace and poise, her gaze meeting yours with a fleeting moment of connection before she demurely averted her eyes, leaving you with the tantalizing sense of intrigue lingering in her wake. You found yourself in that moment wanting to be wherever that gaze rested. Mallory smiled and squeezed your hand again. Blinking, you returned to the present. Sitting on a fallen log as you rest your body while Eldon and Kethra hack away at thickly settled greenery or coax it into receding with whispers. Why did this memory come to you now? The faintly lingering taste of blood from the not good berry that Cheese Cat had given you gave you the answer you weren't ready to acknowledge. And that is where we rejoin you all. In the jungles of the sleeping wilds. You've been out for only a couple of hours. This particular excursion, much different than when you had a purpose, a direction, a very specific destination, and a guide to get you there along the path that had been previously hewn for you. It is taking you longer. You're not sure exactly which way to go, except that you know this is the right general direction. What are you doing?
I do like that you're reminiscing and having these memories, and
We're just
we're just beating the shit out of
hacking
trees.
away.
Yeah, we're just beating up some bushes trying to get through.
Does anybody have a compass? Not that it matters. The last time we were here, we ended up on a different side of the fucking thing, I suppose. But
Could you pull the map up?
Sure. Iolite would have, kind of a general, between all of you, but definitely Iolite with her sense of understanding the cosmos. You would know you're going west because it was to the east, but to the east of where you had been, which was all the way to the west. So you know the general direction that you need to be headed in. What the hell? So you have started at Echo Haven and entered the Sleeping Wilds to the west of that little grouping of homes.
we were told that the rift is just in the Sleeping Wilds, not a particular area, or...
So you were on Mount Yimari, which is all the way on the western side of the island. She told you it was to the east. You met Cryon Stardrifter approximately midway, approximately midway between the Mount Yimari and Echo Haven, and you know that the trail that went through Cryon's home was coming from the east and going westward.
Okay.
So you have an idea that somewhere within this several miles jungle.
Just making sure it wasn't like we needed to go
No.
over there.
Yeah. No. Nope.
All right. I'm going to make a nature check to see where I think we should be going.
What are you doing? I would say just kind of generally, what are you doing to try to figure out where you should go?
Moss grows on the west side of trees, right? Is that it?
Well, so you know which direction is west. My challenge to you all is, how do you find the place? So you know you can keep walking westward, but if you go past it, then you'd just end up having to turn around. So thinking about, like, collectively, how do you want to get to where you think the rift might be?
I would like to start by looking for signs of anything that's moved through here. It doesn't have to be like a blob trail, but like even game, like
Okay.
small animals. Like, I am decent enough to maybe make this skill check.
So what are you trying to discern from that? Because basically, there are animals moving through this space all the time. So what's your end goal by...
If it looks so like if it looks like I don't know if there's pygmy deer on this island or anything like that, but if it looks like
There was.
if it looks
Don't know where they are
like
now.
game animals tracks and movements are heading in a particular direction, I'm going to assume it's away from the evil hole in the ground. So that'd be the direction we want to go, is the opposite of where the rest of the animal tracks are going.
Okay. Anyone else have any thoughts?
Kai's immediate thought is to head in until we find the trail of rot, and then head east as we believe it was going westward. So we should be able to find the rift if we follow the rot trail east.
Okay.
Eldon's thought's pretty much the same, just
Yeah.
heading northwest from us.
Okay.
Hopefully to like come across it if it's bisecting.
Clearly, I overthought this.
No. I mean, it could be 4 miles away that you're looking for a rot trail, or it could be a mile away. So I would say that's either nature or survival from all of you, or the 3 of you that are doing it.
Don't let me down.
Or you can help.
Still hacking. I'll help.
Who are you helping? Are you going to help?
I'll help Kai.
Why don't you let
Ayla?
Kai help you? No.
Wait, because this is a nature check?
If it's nature or survival, don't.
I was gonna say I'll help you because I've only got a plus.
Oh,
I got plus 4.
Iolite was helping
Oh.
Isla.
So you do. They get advantage, right? If they're
13.
being helped.
I got 14.
Advantage.
Nature or
Yeah.
what?
Survival.
We're going to go with that. So 14
14?
for nature.
17
17? Okay.
was the higher, right?
Dirty,
Yeah.
dirty 20.
I have a plus 4 for nature
Oh,
and
the
survival,
19.
so either way.
There we
I
go.
only have a plus 1.
I saw that. That's why I said that's why I said I'd help you, because I do remember seeing that. That's why I was like, let me help you on that one.
Kai's from the city. Kai's not good out in
City
the
boy.
wilderness. Don't be following
Kethra
his.
grew up in the middle of a fucking middle of nowhere.
gonna say, did you ever
None
even
of
get
us
to-
are in our element right now, okay?
She's like, nature is her thing. That's where she was.
So, Ayla, you are looking out for tracks from animals like headed in an opposite direction, or trying to see if they will lead
Like
away.
if the majority of tracks, I'm just trying to notice if the majority of tracks are all going in the same direction.
Okay.
Like if they're just
Yeah.
fucking crisscrossing all around, then okay, it's animals being animals. But
Right. At this moment, with Iolite helping, and you're both kind of looking around, you don't see any change to the direction or any particular pattern, to any kind of tracks, broken branches. There's the jungle sounds normal right now where you are. You have not traveled super far in. So I can say between all of your like looking out in the area that you're in at this moment, you don't see any indication that you've gone possibly far enough into the wilds to determine whether you're close enough or not. It is a relatively sunny day. To start, you're kind of all taking turns hacking away at the greenery. You, again, Ayla, there's almost this, like a little bit of a sadness as you're starting to get used to not hearing the monkeys in the wilds anymore. Of all the sounds that you can hear, all the birds and the buzzing of like giant hummingbirds that are going through the forest and zigzagging past the trees, you always had the sound of the wine-tailed langurs, and it's been 20-ish days almost, a little bit less, and it's kind of strange how quickly you can get used to a change, something always being there, now it's gone, and that's the new normal. You do all notice about halfway through the day, as you are swatting away bugs and it's uncomfortably warm in this jungle, you start to hear like the little patter of rain falling from the sky. It starts off as like the spits, kind of just a little, and the canopy above you is protecting you from most of that, but this is not like when, as you look up, not like the festival, when it like rolled in very quickly and it was something had happened. This is just a naturally progressing rain that is starting above you. For the moment you are dry, but it's hard to tell being within the darkness of this jungle. You can't really see out to tell, is it like a large storm that's coming or something small that's just passing over. But as spring starts to continue, you are getting closer to that point where it would be like the rainy season, so this isn't necessarily unfounded. But
Should we look for a shelter before these rains roll in, or continue on?
I think we should continue on for a little while.
Yes, I cannot see the water from here, so I cannot tell if this is a storm or not. Very well, I suppose we just keep walking till something comes to eat us.
So are we having to cut through this whole time, or are we able to, like, you know, weave in and out of, like, the plants and stuff? Or is it like a fucking green wall that you have to try to, like, constantly cut through?
there are moments when you can weave through, but it's pretty thick jungle. You're having to take breaks pretty frequently. Luckily, you have the supplies that were given to you by Kaylin, but definitely it is a different experience this time. It's a lot more exhausting, and the path that Kaylin had taken you through, at least it was something that she frequented. It was like her hunting path. This is you going through.
You're blazing a trail.
Untouched
Yeah.
nature.
It'll be easier for whoever comes next.
For a little while.
As it closes up behind us.
Yeah.
Throwback.
Jumanji style.
I was just thinking of Survivor Man, how like he can go to the remotest part of the world and there still be like a Coke bottle.
Right. Kethra, why don't you roll a d20? Let's just see.
16?
16. Okay. Why don't you roll a d4?
4.
All right.
So 4 things are gonna attack us out of the jungle.
4 little pygmy pigs come flying out of the jungle.
As you are going through, and you know, you're all taking your time, taking breaks, keeping an ear out for any kind of weird sounds, as they definitely are in the jungles. The rain starts to fall more heavily. It's getting more difficult for you to like even cut through everything, so you just kind of like take a moment and take a break. It's probably about 3 o'clock or so in the afternoon by the time this occurs, where you're just like, it might be time to take a break very soon for the rest of the day. And the rain is starting to fall from the skies, hitting the large leaves. You can see it's getting more difficult for you to kind of hear whether there are creatures close by. You start to see like the big painted leaves like drooping, and water is going down them. There's a moment where you're all just kind of resting, stretching, and when you turn to the side, you see that there is a man who has stepped out from the jungle. None of you heard him, but there's a lot of noise going on at the moment. He's just kind of standing there as the water is falling, and you're all like fairly drenched at this point. It's a little bit of a reprieve because it is really hot out, even when it is raining. So you're not uncomfortable, but he's just kind of standing there looking at you. He looks like a human, very, his clothes are like kind of torn up a little bit, and he's just standing there looking at you, blinks once or twice, probably in his like 30s, 40s, and he's just standing there kind of like shivering a little bit, maybe 15 or so feet away from you.
Away with your weapon. I mean you no harm.
It's a human man.
That was my first thought, though. He's just sitting on a fucking stump in the rain. We all
recognize
saw
him?
him.
Yep, you all kind of look over, and there's just a guy standing there.
We don't recognize him.
You don't recognize him, no.
Eldon would immediately bring his bow to his hand. Not like threatening, like he's gonna draw, but you know.
Oh, I'm threatening. I bring up a blade. Like,
You see
who are you?
The guy just kind of, he puts his hands up, and he's shaking a little bit.
I got trust issues now.
Welcome to Kethra's world.
You didn't even get hurt by anybody.
We were
Bamboozled.
emotional damage.
He just kind of is shaking a little bit in the rain, and he says, I'm sorry, I got lost. I was chased. My name is Beso.
Beso what?
Beso Galbasi.
Who chased you?
Bandits.
Why were they chasing you?
I assume because they're bandits, and I am not.
Where are you from?
Mosswick.
How the hell did you get out here?
I was on my way home from Balsted to Mosswick.
You are very, very far from Balsted. Bandits do not ambush people in the Sleeping Wilds because people do not go into the Sleeping Wilds.
I was on the road. I ran into the Sleeping Wilds.
Who would run into the Sleeping Wilds?
Someone being chased by bandits.
Well, that wasn't your best idea.
Can you help me?
Maybe.
Depends.
What are you looking for exactly?
I'm looking to go home. Back to Mosswick.
We are not going back to Mosswick at the moment.
Okay.
If you follow the trail we have cut, you will end up in Echo Haven.
Okay.
How long have you been Sleeping Wilds?
I don't know. It's been
Hours, days. You survived days in the jungle. The most dangerous jungle on the no longer protected island. With creatures of horrible, horrible description.
Yes, I did.
What did you see?
I saw trees and flowers.
Catherine's gonna step forward, and you're gonna see her hand go into primal savagery, just ready.
He steps back.
She's gonna go.
I'm sorry to have bothered you. I'm very tired, and I just want to go home.
We'll be honest with you, we're not heading back towards civilization. We're going deeper into the wilds. But as she said, if you follow the path that we've cut, it'll lead you directly to Echo Haven.
Do you have any food, any water, anything?
Eldon will take a canteen and like a small pouch of travel food. Toss it.
You toss it, and it falls to the ground in front of him. And he says, "Thank you. Can I pick it up?"
Yes.
You can put your hands down.
He puts his hands down and then steps forward, and he reaches down and goes to pick up the food, and his hand passes through it. And you see it, like, there's this moment of confusion on his face. And then he looks up at you all, and then he looks back down, and he tries again, and his hand passes through the food.
What the fuck is that?
I don't think you made it, friend.
Guy. Fucking guy, I swear. I don't think you made it,
Dude,
friend.
Dad, I'm sorry.
Dude, you bit the dust a long time ago, bro.
He, like, keeps trying, and you see him, like, desperately trying to grab onto the food over and over again, and then he, like, kneels down, and with the strangeness that is ghost physics, is able to kneel down on the ground, and then he puts his hands down on the wet earth underneath him, and just, like, bows his head down, and you can hear this, like, sobbing.
Ayla walks up and bends down in front of him. Do you have any relations in Mosswick that we can notify?
He keeps crying just a little bit, and looks up at you, Ayla. Yes, I do. This can't be right. This can't be right. I was headed home. My family is in Mosswick. I'm heading back home to my family in Mosswick.
Are they the Kalbasi family?
The Galbasi family.
Oh,
yes.
Gal. I heard a C.
Kielbasa family.
Kielbasa.
I heard
family.
Beso Kielbasa.
Well,
I'm like, why did she name this
Linguiça
guy
family.
Kissing Kielbasa?
Beso. Yes. I was headed home. I was headed home, and I was chased.
Did you see what they looked like? What they were wearing?
They were wearing clothes. They were just bandits on the road.
That is not normal for here. Or at least it was not.
What day is it?
Glee 22nd.
I left during burdens. What year is it?
That I don't have.
1419.
1419.
What year do you remember it to be?
It was 1416 when I left.
Well, that was before everything, I suppose.
A lot has happened on the island recently.
I suppose it would. Can you bring me home?
I am no cleric. I'm not sure how we would do that.
You could just come with us. Maybe this is a sign that we should just go back to Mosswick.
We are out here. We must complete what we are meant to do. Otherwise, the powers that be would send us right back out here, or worse. I suppose, now that we know who and what you are, you can stay close until we get back to Mosswick. I do not
Would you
pretend to understand what is going on here.
Would you mind just coming with us for a bit?
Can you get in this
back?
jar?
We've got a closet full of mangoes. It's got room for you.
I can follow you. Yes.
It might be some time before we go back to Mosswick.
I don't think there's any lack of time on their end.
More time has passed than I realized. I've been wandering for days.
I think a bit longer than that.
Many days.
And you have not encountered anyone else out here?
No. It's been raining and cold. It was raining and cold for as long as I can remember. Since I left the path.
I was like, I gotta pee too, but there's a ghost.
Perhaps it's the rain. Why you're here right now. With us.
Perhaps. You see, he takes a step forward and then another, like getting closer to your group. And as he takes maybe the 5th step, he just kind of winks out of existence. Just gone.
Pick up the food you threw to him, and I toss it back to you. Just, okay. Well, then. That was a new experience.
Are you still here? Can we just not see you? Shake that branch if you're still here.
You see a bunch of different branches shaking.
Oh
but
my god,
they're-
he's everywhere.
He's split into a million pieces!
But it's from the water, just like hitting and going down.
Oh, okay.
Say like a minute passes, and then you see him step out from the exact spot where he had stepped prior, and his hands are up. And he's about to speak when he says, "Oh." And his facial expression lots of emotions, kind of, even though he's like there, but now that you've had a moment, now that everything is, you know that this is not a corporeal being, you can see little glimmers, little shimmers in his form, and you watch him go through as he looks at all of you, these people that he has seen for the first time again. He kind of goes through a bunch of emotions in his head, and then his hands go back down. I think I can't follow you. I think I need you to follow me. And perhaps you can help me move on.
From the books I have read, that would make the most sense in this situation.
Do you know where to go?
I believe I do. I believe I do know.
'Tis where you cease to be, I would assume.
Yes. Speaking to you, I remember. I ran into the wilds, and I died. I died here. Alone.
Well, might as well.
Perhaps we can help you find peace.
I would like that. My people have a ritual. I would love your help with it. And you can let my family know that I'm at rest. If you are willing to follow me.
Lead the way.
You see him kind of nod a little bit, and then he turns and enters, passing through just some greenery. Obviously not needing to hack or slash, as you will, in order to follow.
But not too fast.
We decided to follow.
We all felt like dicks. Gotta go bury his body. Jungle? No, there's nothing left of that body.
Right. You head through, it's slow going, hacking at the jungle fauna, flora. Just
Hacking
hacking
through
at
deer
it.
and stuff.
One of those giant hummingbirds, like,
Just slaughtering things on your way through the jungle for no reason, just because they're there. But eventually you do come to a space. It is not a clearing per se, but there is a little area where you can actually see the remnants of what appear to be like these giant flowers. They're no longer living, the flowers themselves. It's kind of like they've wilted and passed on in their own right. Ayla, I will let you make a nature check to see if you can tell what kind of flowers these are. They're very like large. Some of them are smaller. Their petals all gray or brown and wilted.
Hopefully they're not carnivorous.
17.
You know these to be a type of flower that when living, so like you step forward and there's a moment of like kind of minor panic, but when you see them wilted, they will charm, they let loose this very cloying smell that causes you to step forward and directly into their mouth as
You were actually right. Yep.
By chance, did in a certain set of soldiers
Yes.
fall prey to one of those?
by chance one did, yes.
Yeah, that thing really fucked me up.
Yep. They are known for, as you sit there looking at it, there's a moment, and he's just standing, like, beside it, looking down, this ghost looking down at the remains of this flower. You know that these flowers, they dissolve everything. They're, however long this flower has been gone, or even if it had been alive, if he had been consumed several years ago, he was gone a couple of weeks into being eaten by this flower.
Can we check the flowers, see if there's any diamonds in his pockets or anything?
Do you have anything metal on him?
Did he have something that
Survived.
didn't melt in his pants?
So you're gonna loot the dead body of the thing right in front of this guy.
We're gonna put him to rest.
We gotta
Okay, I'm
find
not
something to
judging you.
bring back to his family.
Yeah, we need to find his ID.
All right, go ahead and make an investigation check.
Picture of his wife.
Well, I would, if his bones are gone, I don't take a picture of his wife.
That was
gonna
also
make
a
it.
17.
17. All right, let me find my random trinkets of things. Okay.
He had a fake knee.
Well, he's digging through this dead flower in
A
man's
titanium
possessions.
kneecap in there.
Oh, I'd keep that. We turn that into a weapon.
Yeah.
A kneecap? Kneecap somebody with a kneecap?
Yeah,
I
like
like
tie it to like the end of like a sturdy stick and just have like a kneecap axe.
It's a mace.
Yes.
While that's happening over there, and the ghost is just standing there, hopefully to distract him,
No, go ahead.
is there anything that you wish to say to your loved ones? I know you can't write. You can't touch anything, but I can write something if you wish.
That's very nice of you. I just want to tell my daughter, Moira, that I'm sorry that I couldn't be there for her. I'm sorry, that's all I can really think of in the moment. It was just a day like any other. It's just a day.
Breathing in that dead man's dust.
Just didn't want to sneeze into the thing. Just, you know, the epic dad sneezes. Ah!
Ayla, as you're kind of lifting up petals and whatnot, you do find a small bag, like a pouch, leather, which in and of itself, you like lift up this wet petal and this brown leather pouch. It has a drawstring, and when you open it, is nothing but black inside, darkness inside. The fact that it has not been dissolved into nothing tells you that this is something. The opening is probably, I don't know, what is that, like 2.5 inches wide, like all around. It's pretty small. Beso, when he sees you lift that up, he almost like goes to like grab it, but then remembers and he pulls his hand back. And he says, I guess I will have no use for that. It's, be careful with it. It's a very small pouch, but anything you put into it disappears. It's just gone.
Gone forever.
Yes. I mean, if you put your hand or try to put your hand in it, and you'll be able to take it back out, but anything that you put in just goes.
Is this something you want us to return to your daughter?
If you don't mind, but you're also welcome to keep it if you'd like. It's good for...
Just throw rocks in it.
When we return to Mosswick, if we find your daughter, we'll return it to her with your message.
Thank you.
What is this ritual that you would like us to perform to hopefully release you from here?
Well, my people, we share something from our ancestors, and in doing so, it allows us to join them. And so, you all seem close, perhaps family of sorts. If you sit with me and share something from your ancestors, that should be enough to allow me to move on.
Share like an object?
I think they mean history of us, of our ancestors.
Share something that means something to you. If it is an object, that...
Clever roleplay.
If it is an object, then so be it. There typically is a story behind every object, but I know it's raining and uncomfortable.
Surprisingly, we've been through worse on this island.
Are we supposed to just sit around, or do we light candles or something?
No candles are necessary. The magic is in the sharing. He sits down kind of where he is and gestures to all of you to sit. There are little rocks here and there, a slight reprieve from sitting on the squelching, like, earth, But if you don't care about that, then
I say crisscross applesauce in the mud.
I'll do a little prestidigitation before he sits down.
What kind of rock to sit on?
you see him just kind of look at all of you. I appreciate this. Being vulnerable with a stranger is not something most are willing to do. And I know I'm gone. So you can rest assured that whatever you share won't go beyond me, beyond you. He just sits and looks at all of you.
So does it go clockwise, counterclockwise? Do we spin a bottle?
I know it's uncomfortable.
You should use the numbers.
I can appreciate that.
I can go first. Let's yell a bunch of babies. Thank you.
Did you say that in character?
Yeah, actually. Well, I mean, I'll try, I guess. I don't really know anything about my ancestry, so to speak. I know I'm an Earth Genasi, and I know kind of what that is. But I don't really know how I actually came to be who I am, or what made me. But the oldest thing I do know about myself is, I mean, I knew I was adopted. That was pretty easy for me to figure out pretty quickly. I was kind of a smart kid. So I asked my parents, you know, where they got me, I guess. I think it's natural probably when one figures out they're adopted, maybe to wonder or to feel like they weren't wanted or were discarded. I mean, I only remember my parents because they had me since I was a little baby. So when I asked them one day, my dad told me that they always wanted children, and as it can be, sometimes it just doesn't happen for people, no matter how badly they want it. And they were getting older, and they kind of just assumed that children weren't going to be part of their story. So this is the part my dad, it's a story, but he told me that one night they were outside and they saw a shooting star, and he said he made a wish in his mind, and he wished for a child. And he said that after that, the stars gave them to them. And he wouldn't really tell me anything more than that. And I know it's not real. Like, I know it's just a story that my dad told me to make me feel better. But, I mean, it worked because it feels like it isn't that I wasn't wanted by anyone. It felt like I was so wanted that the love between two people and the desire created me out of stardust and brought me into this world because I was so wanted. And they always made me feel wanted. So, I don't know if that helps, because that's just a story. It's not really a tale of my ancestors, but that's what I have.
I'm not crying, it's just raining.
He looks at you, Iolite, and says, Thank you for sharing your ancestors' wish with me. You see his form kind of, it almost becomes a little less visible, and he like smiles. You hadn't seen this person smile, but there's a hint of that life that was probably taken away far too soon, that you can see in his face. And there's a little smile on his face as he looks to whoever wants to go next.
Well, my people do not have a long history, as we only suddenly came into being 100 years ago. I suppose with that, I would say, here is a story of my ancestry, which is directly told to me by my mother, who is one of the firsts. The history of my people around the world, from what I have been told, is not a particularly nice one, especially at the hands of humans. No offense. But my mother was among the first group, led the first group to this island, to salvation, after, well, she doesn't ever really get into what happened with whatever the people were who were her biological parents, needless to say. Like many of that time, she had to flee to survive. And she found more of us, and eventually secretly charted passage on a boat. I do not know if they knew where the destination was, but it was not where they were, and that is all that mattered. The captain had secretly planned to betray them, send these devils back to hell, is what I was told. This ring that my mother gave to me, this belonged to the first mate, who was the only one on the ship that stood up for the refugees and fought alongside those on the ship against his own crew to protect us. He did not survive, but my mother and her people managed to get control of the ship and eventually sailed to Yimari. This ring, she has told me my entire life, and is a lesson I only recently, I believe, started to embrace. This ring shows that you can trust people in even the most unlikely of events. So, that is my story of ancestry.
He looks at you and at the ring as you had taken it off and placed it down and then put it back on, and his smile again like deepens, and he kind of closes his eyes a little bit and then looks at you and says, "Thank you for sharing your ancestors' journey with me." And he looks to whoever wants to go next.
Looking at me like, I'll go next.
Yeah, babies.
Well, I don't know shit about my ancestors. Absolutely nothing. Hell, I only found out who my real father was 3 years ago, so I don't know anything. I don't know my grandparents. I don't know any stories. All I know is who they were. All I know is who my parents are and the people in my village. I don't know anything of who I come from. It wasn't talked about.
I think that in and of itself is something.
I hope I can help you. I wish I could tell you more. But I don't know anything.
What of your father? What of your mother? Who were they? Sometimes embracing your ancestors is not limited to showing them reverence, but to acknowledging harm that they have caused, and that is just as relevant as the good that they did. It shapes who they were, it shapes their story and yours. I think you know more about your ancestors, but the shame of knowing gets in the way. Sometimes we have to acknowledge the bad.
They were, only things I do know about my family is they're awful people. They lack empathy, morality.
And so, with your ancestors being that way, you find yourself here amongst these other folks and not with them. How did they shape who you are?
I don't know. I just wasn't built like them. I never thought the same way as them. I never looked at the world or people or situations in the way that they would. I was born different, and I'm different than everyone. Where they saw evil, where they saw an opportunity for violence, I saw an opportunity for peace. We saw everything differently. So unfortunately, I'm not really able to answer your questions.
I think you have.
I'm glad I could. I wish I could have told you more.
You told me enough. Thank you for sharing your ancestors' legacy with me.
Thank you.
His eyes close, and you can see him get just slightly less physically there for a moment. And again, his smile, his eyes closed, and he takes an unnecessary breath because he is no longer here. But his body takes that deep breath, and then he lets go and then looks at the last two.
Well, I don't know much about my ancestors, but I can talk about family, I suppose.
One and the same.
I come from a small town called Stoneyard, far from here. Hundreds of years ago, it was much bigger than it was. It was known for mining and quarrying high-quality stone for building projects in Rilsk, the capital city of Aporia. When the moons, they did something, and everywhere that there was desert and grassland had turned to swamp. So all the quarries and all the areas, all the flatlands, they became swamp. Can't quarry, swamp. So the town withered and almost died. My grandfather, his name was also Eldon. He was a clever one, I guess, from what people say. He devised a way of levees and dams and redirecting water so it would shunt the water away, and then you could quarry again. He revitalized the town, and then when he died, my father took over, and I think my father always expected me to take over, but my path was something completely different. I've always felt that I was somewhat of a disappointment because of that. For some reason, I don't know. It sounds silly as I say it, but the older I grew, the colder he grew. And when I had to leave home, the last time I saw him, it was like I didn't even know him. It was like he didn't know me. I don't know. I don't know what that says or what that tells spirit, but I don't know. I like to think that I do what I do, maybe in part, so he won't be disappointed in me. But I don't know. It all sounds so silly now that I'm saying it out loud.
He kind of looks at you. There's no smile. But then he leans forward very slightly and says, "Thank you for sharing your ancestor's name with me." And then leans back and you can see the rain where before you couldn't tell that he was as much a ghost. Him being wet was part of however he had died in that day. And now you can see the raindrops that are falling, and you can see them going through his body as he opens his eyes and then looks at Kai.
Well, I can tell you a very, very old story about my ancestors. Very long time ago, there was a man. He fell in love with a woman, and they were devoted to each other. Like true love, like you read in those books. He wanted to give her the world. When it finally came time for them to have a family, he sailed her across the ocean, found a place, a home for them. But unfortunately, she died in childbirth, leaving behind 2 daughters. And he wanted to make sure that nothing bad would ever happen to them or anyone in his family. Maybe he was desperate, or maybe he had a little bit of darkness inside him, but he made a choice that when his daughters found out, scared them. He made a deal to not die like the love of his life. And that's what he wanted for his daughters. But they saw it changed him. He was no longer the man who they came to know as their father. So the 2 of them, they put an end to him. And unfortunately, it drove a wedge between the sisters. Sometimes love can make you do things you never thought possible on both sides.
with that final contribution, you see him look at all of you. His eyes rest back on you, Kai. He says, "Thank you for sharing your ancestors' choice with me. Thank you all for sharing this moment with me and for allowing me to move on with the grace of your ancestors guiding me and my own." You see him close his eyes, and the figure that's sitting there in front of you just kind of like fades, and you see this very content and very handsome like smile that just permeates like the remaining kind of misty form that is sitting there with you. And he almost like very slow motion, it's like the mist kind of falls down to the ground, and sort of like a variation of the, or I guess like an opposition of the tentacles that you have seen. It's like the mist kind of comes out and begins spreading out towards all of you, but not in a like malicious way that you have seen. You still have a moment of getting tense where this mist that, again, reminiscent of what you just came from on the lake, and from all of the gross aberrations that you've seen, it reaches out towards each of you in this circle, and you feel it kind of swirl around all of you before it dissipates in the rain. You each have 10 temporary hit points that will not go away until they go away with battle. Like, they will not go away with a long rest. And you find yourself sitting in a circle, no longer enclosed as the ghost of Beso is gone, but all just kind of sitting with whatever feelings you have, having shared intimate past or present information with a stranger who's now gone. And that's where we're going to take a break.
He won't be posting those stories on the internet.
He's gonna blog about them.
I tricked him.
We're gonna see all these stories on Reddit, true off my chest.
We return to our adventurers sitting quietly around a sort of semicircle, a broken circle, in the last place where Beso Galassi, a human from Mosswick, lost their life years ago after having sent him on by sharing the voices of your ancestors in various ways. What are you doing? It's still raining. Suns will be going down very soon.
Got that bag and I'm throwing rocks in it. We should build a shelter, I suppose, if it's going to rain all night. You see this thing? Look at this.
What if you put something in there by accident?
I would imagine
Do
you
you think there's a way to get it back?
No. I'm picturing somewhere in some plane of existence, someone at their desk just where fucking rocks keep coming from.
Well, between the rain and we're gonna lose light soon, we should find a good place to make camp.
Is there like a Jurassic Park tree? There's like giant tree that like curls up and maybe part of the trunk or a large branch shields the rain or something?
Yeah, there are a variety of trees. The awesome palm trees that kind of almost look like something from the Lorax. Like, I saw these recently and I thought they were so cool, but they're like big bushy and then it kind of gets like shaggy at the bottom, but they're these big bushy things from like Dr. Seuss. And then there are
Excuse
these.
I'm going to go breathe a little bit.
Taco. We decided to have taco night tonight.
Compliments to the chef. Compliments to the chef. But yeah, there are larger trees that just with the long branches. Besides the tall, thin palm, there are a variety of those that have vines hanging, as you can see from my Benno's battle map scene.
Nice. I
Big,
love it when they
big,
move like that.
Yeah.
That's so-
big leafy, trees with vines hanging and
Figure we'd look
Our
for
head's not that big.
a large tree so that, like, we have something at our back and only have to worry about this angle of attack.
Yeah, you're able to find that easily enough. If anything, you feel pretty confident even with the rain falling. Like if anything were to like come crashing through, you would feel it or hear it and feel it probably. But yeah, you find a large tree with. It's almost like you can sit there and watch the water coming down, like those. What are they? I'm not going to have any words that normally would be in my head, but the ones that you can kind of hang off of gutters. Then they just like tinkle
Downspout.
down.
Oh no, I know what
They're
you
kind of
mean.
like flowers or
Yeah.
decorative. It kind of looks like that as it goes down the vines on the outside of your space.
So is it dry where we are? in
It's dry enough.
here? We're not getting
Yeah, you're not
affected
getting
by
rained
rain.
on. Yeah.
It's not dark yet, so I was gonna say.
I would say by the time you find that and get yourself set up, they start going down at like 5 o'clock, so it's not. Get 12 hours a day, but it ends pretty early.
Should we start a fire or?
Eldon probably would have already had a fire going, or at least started to get one going.
I do not want to attract anything else,
Low and slow.
alive or dead.
Something has occurred to me after speaking with that gentleman. We're all here willing to risk our lives for each other. But we don't really know each other. Perhaps it's time we find out who we're willing to die for out in this jungle.
I don't know. I believe we all have gotten to know each other pretty well.
We know who we are as people, but we don't know things about each other.
What are you gonna know?
Nothing in particular, but if something happens to one of us, what do you want us to tell each other's family? Do any of you, have rituals or rites that you want?
I take out my doorknob. And I make a door. And I pull out a bottle of wine.
Wine or mangoes? Didn't know
Is
which
that
one.
the ones you stole from the boat?
Yeah.
When you stole
Good
from the boat.
stuff.
I'm pretty sure. I was looking at my inventory before we started.
I forgot you had those.
It's like
And you pull out a bottle of
Rose garden wine.
rose garden wine.
That actually sounds nice. That sounds fucking tasty.
You're gonna want to let that breathe.
You take a sip, so you
And now I'm cursed.
Oh no, the wine
Hey, you
was
just took a
cursed.
sip too. You're cursed.
Oh man.
Always wait.
moving swiftly to take a sip of that wine. The smell is fabulous. It is a combination of like rose petals and spices, but the taste is it's like sweet. It is flavored with flower petals. The taste is horrific. You know it from as you take that swig and you smelled it. You smelled it, but then you took the swig very quickly. You would know Rose Garden wine is one that social climbers, rich folks, those with money, those pretending to have money, those with power, those pretending to have power, they drink this as a status. It is very expensive, but it is very gross.
So it's Dom Perignon.
Have
you ever had that?
It will.
It's like $200 a bottle, and it tastes like fucking shit.
People say that they put the flower petals inside of it to make it taste worse than it originally did. It is very expensive. It will get you.
It'll get you there.
It will get you where you need to be, very nicely, but it does not taste good. But
I
this
warned
is
you.
something. Yeah.
You're gonna want to let that breathe for a
The
minute.
smell wafts over to Kai, and taking an intentional breath, we'll say, you are able to
figured you have to
immediately recognize this wine. It's really difficult to come by, extremely difficult to come by this wine.
I believe I've had these at banquets before.
Yeah, it's real gross. It's real gross. But for Iolite, Eldon, Kethra, you would never have had an opportunity to taste this except for Ayla stealing it and sharing it with you tonight.
And Kethra's like, after that raving review, I'm good. And she's going to pull out, she's had like the reverie sticks forever. She's going to pull one out and just...
Just doing lines. Are you racking lines over there, Kethra?
She's going to like put it in her mouth and just like kind of smoke it like a joint and be like, it's been a rough fucking week, guys. Anybody want any?
Were the reverie sticks, could you smoke them, or were those the things that you scratch yourself
You
again?
snap them, actually.
Oh,
and
yeah.
kind of
You
sniff
see
them
her-
a little bit.
Was that a
I'm
different
not gonna
drug
say
where
you
we
should-
scratched
Those are the
ourselves?
That was the barb.
the barbs.
Yeah, the barbs are ones that you kind of like lightly scratch your skin with it. I'm not going to say you can't smoke a reverie stick.
And she's going to be like, I don't know if I'm doing this right, but it feels fucking right. Anybody want some? There you go, Ayla.
She's
I
a
will take
musician.
that. I will take that wine, Iolite, if you're done with it.
Oh, I'm done. Yes.
If we're gonna talk about ourselves, we gotta fucking get fucking
We gotta
lit.
get a little lit, yeah. And she'll pull out a couple more reverie sticks, go, because I got 12 of them, so she'll give each one of us one. Go, you want one?
Yeah,
I was going to say, I think I have like 10. I'll
12
take,
of them.
hey, pff.
So she's like,
Eyes holding too.
So
she's like, all right, I'll smoke yours.
when you snap it or light it up, whatever you want to do, you get this like sharp inhale. It's like a euphoric feeling. You just feel real good. Nice.
That's what we needed. That's
Yeah.
And you're gonna hear, out of my bag, no nicks.
Those of you who are snapping a reverie stick, you can roll a d4.
Did you think Slim Jim too? Is that what you thought?
Do a Slim Jim.
I heard like 2 or 3 people
Four.
make the same noise I did.
Snap into a reverie stick.
Oh yeah!
4.
Something you
Okay.
2.
3.
So whatever you rolled,
D4
you
if
have
you're having a
advantage
reverie
on
stick.
checks to resist fear and disadvantage on checks to resist being charmed for that many hours.
2 hours.
So 2 hours, you have advantage on fear, disadvantage on charm. If you snapped into a rev stick.
Cat's not really charming anyway, so there's really no loss on that one.
Cream rises to the top.
You kind of
Can
like...
we get it there? I want you to read that on camera someday.
Which?
What the Reverie Sticks does, but as Macho Man.
Oh my god.
I'll bring my hat.
You've heard my lowest, deepest voice, right?
So if we try
This
to
is
charm
it.
someone, it's at disadvantage, or if we
If you are charmed, you have disadvantage on
okay.
the check, on the saving throw.
I'm like, charm is my whole thing.
Like,
You can beat.
Snap it to a zip.
Is that Macho Man?
I don't know.
It always goes back to Fat Albert.
I just really
Hey, stab it.
need a little excitement. A sharp inhale of the contents. Of the contents delivers a powerful rush of euphoria. Ooh. I don't know why. I just imagine you doing that.
I can't.
I think you need to do it.
We can
I
put
think-
your
I
voice
think we got
over
something
my
for the
face, over
Patreon now.
my lip
You're gonna have to
movement.
read that as Macho Man.
That
You're gonna do that with your cowboy hat.
Yeah, I got the
and
cowboy hat.
You gotta get a jacket with streamers.
I'll get the
We
fucking
going.
pauldron.
He showed up to the
I
lake
love it.
fucking almost dressed like Macho Man one time. Like you had the fucking shirt, you just didn't have the streamers. You had the hat. Like I think you just didn't have the yellow Speedo either. I mean, not over your
You
pants.
might be talking out of school.
All right, so you're all high on drugs
Yep.
and
That is
alcohol
one of the best
after,
clips.
as you all come down, I guess, or dealing with in your own way the interaction with the ghost and making you have to speak about things that made you uncomfortable in front of each other for the first time.
There's,
Was that the first dead man that anyone has seen? I mean, living dead man.
Yeah, that's my
First
first
one
ghost.
I've ever talked to.
That's my first ghost.
yeah, first interaction with someone.
Hopefully the last.
I wonder what makes someone stick around like that.
Yeah, in his case, his ritual to pass on, but I
Some
do not know.
Some kind of unfinished business, I suppose.
A lot of people die with unfinished business. There aren't that many ghosts that I have seen around.
I think he really wanted to get home. I think giving him his final rites was just enough to appease him.
So what do you want to know?
Well, this,
I imagine Ayla, but instead of the reverie stick is on like one of those really long French-handled cigarette holders. You ever see those?
Like a cruel.
She didn't bring one on this trip.
something my sister and I would do with some of the younger people in large gatherings. We would actually steal a bottle of this exact same kind of wine. And most of the time people don't want to give away any kind of secrets about themselves, so we'll each go around, ask someone a question, and they have to answer it honestly.
A fun and dangerous game. I have no more secrets. I have told you people everything.
Doesn't have to be a secret, just your thoughts, something that's happened, something that you want to know about the person. Sometimes embarrassing, maybe even heroic, depending on the person.
Now it is your game. Begin.
Eldon, you spoke of your father, you and him not seeming to be on the same page.
That's about the right of it.
Be honest. Is your lack of a strong family part of the reason you got on the boat instead of going to see your family after leaving the Keepers?
I did see my family after the Keepers.
Why didn't you stay?
Because home didn't feel like home anymore. Sometimes after someone changes or grows, it's hard to go back. People might look at you differently. I don't know. maybe it's all in my head, but you feel like a failure, I suppose. You can exceed expectations in one way and fail to meet expectations in another, and they don't always seem to balance each other out. If that makes sense.
Failing to meet family's expectations hurt a little bit differently.
Yeah. It's funny because whenever my mother's name is Donla, and she's a very sweet and kind and beautiful woman. She always picked me up when I bruised my knee or got myself in trouble. She always had just the right thing to say. My father was always... Cold is really the only way. Distant. My mother used to say something about me being special, for what that's worth. But if there was anything special, she saw it in me and loved me for it. I feel like he saw it in me and like he didn't like what he saw. But, I mean, I guess that's most children's fear, is having their parent look at them with some kind of disappointment or something like that. Is that enough of an answer for you?
Now you get to ask someone.
I'm just gonna take that bottle from you and take a nice slug of that and...
You see Theratrix, who's kind of wrapped himself on one of the lower hanging branches. When you take a swig, he just kind of like sits up a little bit taller. Is Theratrix in...
He's not of drinking age.
Dragon form, like...
we just never got to it, but when we were traveling, I would have asked him if he would like to change. And if he says yes, then I would have, dismissed him and brought him back as... like his, I was gonna say flying type, like his Pokemon.
Yeah.
But his winged form
that makes sense.
With red, so he can try to. Can he fly on his own, or is he still gliding?
He's still gliding, but he's getting close.
Getting better.
You're doing like the turkey, where it's kind of just like
Yes.
a little bit off the ground.
He flies like a chicken.
Yeah, and he
It's like
kind
an
of...
elongated jump.
You see, or maybe
Luigi
you
and
wouldn't
Mario
see,
too.
but I would say Iolite would see, and Kethra. Ayla and Kethra, you guys are the ones with that high passive perception. You kind of see Theratrix doesn't say anything, just sits up a little bit, watching Eldon take a swig of the drink. No change in facial expression, just at attention.
You people drink this for fun?
It's
Well.
for appearances.
Certainly not for taste. Take another one. Oh.
And you did it again?
Someone. You'll hand it back to Ayla, I guess? Ayla.
I've been drinking it since I was 9.
Oh. No wonder you have such a prickly disposition.
Such an edgy voice.
Very
Your
hoarse.
vocal cord burns something in there.
Let's see. He's going to look at everybody. Just gonna look a little extra long at Iolite and then move back to Ayla. Let's try to lighten it up a little bit, I guess. So what happened with that blue tiefling when we were back at the village?
And you're here. Nix is there something. I want to know this now. Nosy.
Theratrix gets a little taller.
Theratrix and Nix like, what do I know?
Oh, it's getting a little horny in here.
Ah, the dirt.
Ah, the familiars are into it.
Nothing happened. Your father.
I would say you have to be honest.
Kiss and tell. Kiss and tell. Kiss and tell.
I mean, you were there. There was nothing. It was just he was delivering a message, and then there was the
Oh, you delivered something already.
party that we had to attend with the floaty thingies.
And then you
Really sent that package.
and then you spent the night on the beach together.
Yes, it is only natural to sleep on the beach. Is it not? Sleep on the beach.
Just
Yeah.
sleep.
Just sleeping.
Hey, I'm not gonna shame you. I'm saying I boned on a boat, but I'm just saying, like,
Yes.
like
Yes, she did.
you don't have to be ashamed of that. Like, it's pretty good looking, so we're not gonna judge you.
I mean, I have done shameful things all over this
I was
island.
like, and remember, oral still counts. Ayla. That's what Kethra's gonna say. Oral still counts, Ayla.
Yeah,
Oral still counts.
I don't
Oral
know
still
what that
counts.
is, but it still counts.
I don't know what that
You
is.
say, what are you guys talking about?
I'll explain later, Eldon.
Look of confusion.
I'll explain later, Eldon.
It was a simple 10-year reunion. No more.
So just hand stuff.
Just
Over the
talking.
Oh, just over the shirt.
Over the horns.
Gazing at the moon, if you must know. Some tail play.
There it is.
All right, you got
Nice.
it. We hit it. We nailed
Nice.
it. 1, 2, 3. Pass that bottle.
I mean, I do not understand the point of these questions. What does this question have to do with anything about being heroic and dying for whatever the hell we're doing?
We're getting to know each other better.
I'm getting to know things in
Intimate.
closets.
Intimately, apparently.
If we're willing to die for each other, we should at least truly know who each other is.
Does that satisfy your curiosity?
Does it satisfy you overall?
I am always satisfied.
I did walk out of that on that beach with a smile. Sure.
Oh, so it is my turn now. Okay. That woman that followed us on the first day that we threatened to go away. I do not think we ever got what her connection is to you.
Felicia?
Yes, that is the one.
Well, first off, I'm not drinking this shit, is what she's going to say. I'm not drinking that shit. Sorry, guys. That's gross. And she'll hit the reverie stick and go, she was a friend at one point, almost kind of, as I was raised as an only child, and she was as close as I had to an older sister, or what you would call a cousin kind of relationship. And we were raised together. She was the closest thing I probably had to a best friend in the cult. We did everything together. She took care of me when my family weren't able to. And she betrayed me.
What happens if you're that close?
I don't know what caused the betrayal. She's the one who told my father about Ophrilla.
Over the table, do we know who
We don't know
Ophrilla
who
is?
that is, right?
Yes.
I think it's been stated like over the table in flashbacks, but I don't think it told us.
Right, no, we don't know.
Oh, I was just going along like we did know.
That's why I asked about the table.
Right.
Fuck shit.
Yeah, this is the first time that the Woven Fates are hearing the name Ophrilla, and at least maybe it's been stated out loud at some point here or there, but in terms of context, no.
Is this a relative?
She was my lover.
And this was forbidden?
Being with a woman wasn't something that was allowed. It was men and women only.
That limits
And she wasn't human. And anything that wasn't human was of the devil, my father said.
I just kind of look at my hands.
And she goes, and what they believe of your kind, I do not believe.
I can only imagine.
Horned devils is what they called you. And I never believed that. But Opharilla must have seen, Opharilla must have been a little lax, or I was lax, and got a little too comfortable in our late night meetups. And I must have said something or done something to alert Felicia to know that I was up to something. And she followed us. She followed us, and she reported back to my father. And she is the reason that if the woman I loved more than anyone in this world is no longer with us, it's because of her.
Well then, your wrath towards her is completely justified.
They killed her?
Understandable.
If she's still alive, she doesn't want to be anymore, I can guarantee you that. I pray of the two options that she is dead. The things my father would do to her to bring me back, or to just use her for any way he wants to manipulate me, would break her spirit. And and you'll see Kethra the first time actually get emotional. And you'll see her eyes well up and go, I choose to believe that she's no longer with us. The person he would turn her into to survive. I just can't even think about it.
Iolite's gonna go and sit like right up next to Kethra, like hip to hip, and like put her arm around her.
And Ketra's gonna put her head on her shoulder and go, thank you.
I'm sorry.
Thank you. And you're gonna see her pull out this little, it's like a little scrap of fabric. It's pink and gold with all this beautiful like floral pattern. And she's gonna go, this is all I have of her. I ripped this off her dress as they pulled us apart. And the last thing I saw was my father's men dragging her away while she reached and screamed for me to help her. And that is another reason for the scars on my back.
You said she wasn't human? Was she a tiefling?
She's an orc, correct?
She was a half-elf.
Half-elf. Half-elf. And she's the reason that I have Nyx.
No wonder he's so special to you.
She taught me, she was a wizard, and she taught me how to summon a familiar. And we summoned him together. It's one of the last things we did before the event.
No wonder you are so powerful to have to endure such an upbringing.
It was torture. Every day was torture. And my biggest regret was that night that I knew I could have done something to help her, but I was too afraid for my father to know my magic had grown. It was the first and the last time fear has stopped me from anything.
That is something I can completely understand.
So if anything ever happens to me, someone take care of Nyx. And if Ophrilla is still with us, find her for me. But my family doesn't need to know.
We can do that.
Thank you. She's just gonna go. Anybody want this?
Grab it with my tail. Cool. It's like, that's heavy shit. That's heavy shit.
And she's gonna. That was a lot. She's gonna go. My turn, I guess, huh?
According to his rules.
Since when do we listen to Kai anyway?
That is a very good point.
Too late.
Why are we doing this?
Catherine's gonna go. Iolite.
Mm-hmm.
Who is Desi to you? I'm sorry, Nick said his name. He told me his name. If you prefer not to, I can ask another question.
Well, it's too late now.
That just got
Nick keeps saying his name. And
Yes. Who is Desi?
Desi is a friend.
Nick said he was a friend of yours.
Yeah.
How does Nyx know of your friend's name?
It's not your turn.
I thought we were not listening to Guy.
We're not. We're not anymore.
Well, when I studied at the Sidereal Assembly, we were the only two kids there. And we kind of grew up together. And, you know, my parents weren't there, but his were, and they were sort of my mentors. So
That's sweet.
we ended up, you know, obviously we were around each other a lot, and he was my best friend. I didn't actually have any friends prior to him, so he was my only friend.
And what did you do on the beach with him?
It wasn't like that.
I say that and look at
like
him.
That.
Like, just a stinging glare.
Elton's face got bright red. And just like, almost as red as your skin. Almost as red as Ayla. Just like, this bitch. Oh.
And you can see like the scales like pop
Ayla wasn't like that. It wasn't like that. We're just friends. He's like my brother. We grew up together.
Your childhood best friend?
Yeah.
That's so sweet.
And until
as well, but
until
there was
you
occasions on
guys,
the
he was
beach.
my only friend. So there's that. So he's someone special to me.
Awesome. Does that satisfy you? To Nick's?
Thank you, Nyx.
Little shit, I know. She's gonna go, he's a little shit, I'm sorry. Sorry.
No, see, but he did do me a solid, so I guess.
And he's gonna look at you and go like this. And hit his neck.
What?
Keep hitting his neck. Like, look.
What is it? What do I see?
And you're gonna see something tied around his neck.
Oh. Is that for me?
Meow.
Okay. Can I just...
And he's like, oh God, please.
Take this off.
3 days.
He's like, I've had shit
waiting
tied
for
around my
someone to
neck
notice.
forever.
Tell me it smells like the whorehouse. There's glitter on it. It smells like perfume.
It's a napkin with like lipstick on it and stuff.
I'm pretty sure it's the stone that you sent, but it's back.
Oh, okay.
It's sent back to you.
Oh, okay. Excellent.
And Nick's gonna lay down like, oh, good, I can go to bed. That shit's off my neck.
Kai, it's all started with you. You have a twin sister.
Yes, Mallory.
Why isn't she with you?
Well, she's going to be queen someday. She's never left Avenia, and she probably never will. But me and her, we share a special bond. Not just being twins, but the world that we grew up in is very different. Sure, we've put our lives on the line out here in the wilds in the city. Where we come from, words can get you killed just as quickly as a knife. So we always promised each other we would always be truthful and have each other's backs, always. And she betrayed my trust. And quite frankly, I left before I confronted her because I was afraid. If I were to confront her and ask her why, then I wouldn't be able to control myself. And I might do something that I would regret.
What did she do that was so terrible?
We've always grown up being nobility isn't what you all might think it might be. Sure, we have wealth, we have power, but we don't have privacy, and we don't have much choice. Most of our days are scheduled out for us, whether it be tutoring, different events, places that we must show face. And because of that, there's a lot of people that will sell information, anything to try and get a leg up. So we promised that we would never do that to each other. The girl that I killed, I lost control because she told me she was watching me for her sister, for my sister. And that betrayal, it broke part of me. That's why I went looking for answers. That's what led me to the Raven Queen. I don't know if me and my sister will ever be the same again.
Could you have been mistaken? Perhaps she was watching you for your own safety?
Regardless, My sister betrayed the trust that we would have secrets, and quite frankly, I would have told my sister anything she wanted to know. But she didn't trust in that. She didn't trust in me. Most of my family, they fear me. Most of them were there when the vampire attacked. Most of them look at me the same as any other creature of the night. So, when I lost my sister, I had no one else I could trust.
Well, you can trust us. We might not be princes or princesses, queens or kings. We might not be killed by a word, like a knife or other such things, but we can keep people and their knives out of your back, away from you. Like I said, weeks ago, God, it feels like months or years, that friends share friends. They also share enemies. That still holds. So, I mean, well, it doesn't matter to me that you're half vampire or a prince or any other number of things. To me, you're Kai. Good friend.
Excellent dancer.
You have a cute butt. Lighten up, Kai. Where's that go?
Here is one for all of you. What was your end game coming to my island? Just out of curiosity, had the world not turned upside down?
Honestly, why I'm here, it was the farthest I could get away.
That makes sense. You, I know.
Still have to say for the rest of us.
Oh, yes, say it for the rest of them.
I just snuck onto a boat, and this is where it was going. And I was just hiding until someone found me, and I had to go somewhere else. It didn't really have much of a plan or an end game, I guess. Still don't.
Same.
I got on that boat because after that night that we spent together, it was the first time I didn't have nightmares.
Oh.
So, I told you about the boat in the harbor that was leaving in the morning. And I went and bartered passage on it.
So when we awkwardly ran into each other, it wasn't so much of a coincidence as you made it out to be.
I never said that it was coincidence. You assumed.
I didn't assume anything.
I thought you guys were still talking. What was the question again? About
Why did you get on the boat?
my master and mentor told me that, and I didn't quite understand what he meant at the time, but that dragons don't do well in captivity. And I think the keepers are a certain type of captivity. So he told me to go, travel, learn, help who I can, and to listen to the weave, which I found laughable because I barely had any connection to it. But whether I could hear it or not, it must have been speaking, because went south, got on that boat, ended up here with all of you. So, as the weave or fate, just dumb luck. But I'm glad it didn't.
And after this is all done, what then?
I don't think our work is going to be done here for quite a while. But me personally, I have no idea. I have no idea what things hold for me in Theratrix. Maybe we'll stay here and help who we can, or maybe go back to Aporia. Maybe I'll just stick around with you bunch. We'll see what trouble we can cause.
Theratrix speaks up. We will be returning to Aporia.
Well, apparently
We will
the
be
decision
returning to
has been made
Aporia.
for you.
We are meant for bigger and greater things.
They grow up so fast.
Bigger and greater things than what?
Than what this island has to offer. We are important to the future. Decisions will need to be made. And you will either join us or you will not. But that will be your choice to make. But Eldon and I are two halves of a whole. Or more accurately, I would say one half of a whole. And we have to join with the others.
The other what?
The other half.
And what might that be?
I'm unsure. But I know we must do it. And decisions will be made.
What is it that you see the last time that you went away?
It's not so much see as hear. I hear a voice that tells us that we are a missing piece. We have to return home. It's important. Not tomorrow. We have a mission to protect, and we are keepers, and we will fulfill that mission. But after, we will go home.
It'll be nice to see the mountains again. For you, the first time.
I have seen the mountains. The mountains are a part of me. They always have been, and they always will be, and that is another thing that the voice has told me. I have seen them. On the wall, and in my heart.
Take that bottle of nasty fucking... And he's gonna, like, raise it up. Doesn't know how dragons exactly drink.
He says, "Oh no, thank you. I'm sober."
I'm driving.
Driving.
Can't drink and fly.
Theratrix the DD.
Before I take off, I have to breathe into this little tube.
What of you, Ayla? After all of this, do you plan to go back can just perform at your theater company?
I don't know. Perhaps I will finally get on that boat.
It's a big world out there.
It is. I have not explored it.
If you like spicy food and tall mountains, you're more than welcome to come with us.
Well, we shall see. I don't like cold.
Fair enough, it's very cold. It's fucking freezing, actually.
I've never experienced it, but I've read about it. Snow sounds horrible.
It's quite beautiful, actually. You can pick it up and get little balls, almost like a dough ball, and you can throw it at things and they explode.
Interesting.
It's a lot more fun than it sounds. Just
I would hope so.
when I say explode, I don't mean like magic, like what you guys do. I mean like just.
It is not the projectile.
It's just wet and cold. It's fun.
You're not selling me on this. But perhaps I have experienced and learned a lot in this short time, so let's hope we live that long.
What about you, Iolite?
Me, after this? I don't know. I think I thought I had my life all figured out when I was at the assembly, and then suddenly just none of it was there anymore. I guess I haven't really stopped long enough to think about what the future could be now. Maybe I'll...
Above the table again. Do we know that the sidereal assembly was destroyed?
I think
Like,
so.
we were told?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure we
I couldn't remember if you said it or if we just.
I
did
know.
the
I keep
one
having
shot.
that problem where I'm like, do
Sorry.
I know this? Does Iolite know that, or do I know that? I don't know. Maybe I'll be like Cryon and just be a recluse somewhere and unravel all the mysteries of the universe. Or I'll just follow Ayla. That's served me well so far, so we'll see.
Always welcome with me.
And she's coming with me, so we'll all go.
Well,
That's so
buddies.
nice. And what about you two? I don't imagine that you'll be going back to. Apologies, I forget. Is it Storms?
Squall's
Squall's End. I don't imagine I'll be going back there anytime soon, and I don't think you'll ever be going. Well,
Unfortunately, I believe my fate is that I have to go back.
oh boy.
As much as I don't want to. It's a mix of finding Ophirilla if she's still with us. And for once and for all, breaking the control my father has. I used to never think I would go back, but the longer I've been away, the longer I know that it is my destiny to kill him.
It's
A heavy destiny.
It's a hell of a destiny.
I hoped my destiny had more. I hoped for a love that would consume me. I hoped for so much more. But I feel like all I know about my destiny is at some point I have to go back. I have to try to right the wrongs of my father.
And whether or not Kethra says this out loud, you remember that first vision in the hot springs where you were standing in front of a monstrosity of some kind that was blocking out the light of the suns, and beside you were these people.
James, I feel you're fated to come with me.
Well, good.
We'll fight the monster together.
Oh, there. We have plans for after.
I wouldn't look forward to it.
Oh, I'm not.
The things I saw in my vision, I will never... You don't want to know. We'll speak of that once we're done with this bullshit. One fish to fry at a time, I guess, right?
And you?
I don't know how long I'll live for. Whether my pact with the Raven Queen will lead me to an early passing. But from all that I know of my kind, they can't die of old age. Like an elf, I'll just eventually stop aging. But no secondary life cycle. No last few years where you start to age and drift off. As far as I know, I'll live as long as I'm not killed. And he has his jacket off beside him, so he rolls up his sleeves. The tattoo that started here has spread. And it goes up now, full down his left arm and starting at the wrist up to just above his elbow. You can see on the back side of his arm he has that original feather that was on his chest. It seems to almost be leading the tattoo. So, after we're done here, I don't know where I'm going to go, but if your vision saw us beside you, it doesn't mean eventually I will go home. But I don't think I'll be going home to stay anytime soon.
Speaking of visions, Kethra,
Yes.
I've been avoiding it for some time, but maybe for me you can do that spooky black eye thing that you do when you say something particularly scary.
It's fun.
Just know I have
We were
no
braiding
control
our
over
hair
whatever
when
I
we did the
say.
first time.
Let me pull it up. Alright.
Alright.
You've never done it.
This is the first time.
Okay.
I've been avoiding it.
How are you doing? How are you,
Jesus Christ.
I keep telling you, don't use this dice tray, use this.
She,
describe how you, your interaction.
Alright, she's like, I'm high as shit, come over here.
Oh, yes.
And it's still sort of dripping a little bit, right?
Yeah, there's still,
Yeah, Eldon has this big cape thing, you know, he's gonna like take it. And you guys are sitting next to each other?
Mhm.
So as you like, we're in a tree? Are we in a tree?
you're underneath the tree.
Okay, well, he'll like tie up one end because it's just basically this long piece of material that he wraps around himself. He's gonna tie it on one end, spread it out and tie it on this one. Almost makes like a little like
Little
canopy for you, for
Nice.
you, Iolite, Nyx, and Theratrix can like
Nice.
squish it.
Nyx does not appreciate being wet.
Yeah,
So
that's-
that's appreciated.
I get a little closer. I pull my, like, the thing tie out of my hair, and like let it down and then I start braiding my own hair, but using my tail to drink the bottle
Using
while
your
I'm
tail. This
using
is getting good.
both my hands. Just like, oh yeah.
You're like aiming to defeat that terrible taste. It's like, I will not be bested by the horrid fucking.
So she's gonna turn. She's gonna hands, please.
Just
And she's gonna grab your hands like this, and you see her go like this, and then she looks back at you with black eyes. All right, let's.
I told you, don't roll on that dice.
Yeah.
So we're up to what? It was 12, 14, 16. We're up to 18.
18.
8.
Sub out the dice. Okay.
So as
Nat 20
you're,
on this, I think.
you can see
I think as long as it's essential, I keep going.
Kethra,
Another one.
God damn.
you are,
Reading.
She's like, I think I'm high as shit.
yeah,
I think I need a minute.
like you're at 20. We're at 22 now.
Yeah.
You'd have to hit a 22. But as you're you like hold on and you're looking at Eldon, and you're looking. All Eldon that you see is the black eyes, but Kethra, you're trying to like push through, and you don't know if it's the reverie stick, the wine, or Theratrix is sitting right beside Eldon, looking at you, and your focus is on Eldon, but there's almost like this.
Theratrix is like this.
This
Just staring into the side of your head like, read 'em, bitch. Go ahead, let's see what happens.
There's almost like this, if almost like a mirror was shattered in your vision, and you can see this blending of Eldon and Theratrix together, add on a little, like the matrixy kind of like spasm of these two visions overlapping, and there's something preventing you from getting there. I would say you're at a 22. You could probably try one last time.
What was I say?
13.
13. Yeah, so it's one
Well, don't you get to add something?
You do get to add your wisdom,
My wisdom is whatever the fuck is that?
and you do have
7.
your heroic inspiration.
4, so that's 17, and no, I still don't make it.
You have your inspired action that you can cash in.
And what's going to inspire her? She's getting irritated.
Just kind of pushing past.
Elden's just like, what's
You
going
see,
on?
you could see, and Eldon, what you see on Kethra's face is like determination, but like her brow is furrowing, and like you're just seeing this. It's almost like you need the two to kind of separate so that you can get through to the other humanoid in this equation.
Use your dice tentacle roller.
12, 16, so no.
And like sweaty hands kind of like just let go, and the eyes go back.
I'm just gonna go, I can't get a read on you. Just gonna go, has something to do with Theratrix or the fact that I'm high as hell? I don't know which one it is. So if you're open, I'm open to trying again at a later date. But
Pencil me into your schedule.
maybe next time we can. It's kind of hard with Theratrix just staring. Like maybe next time we'll see if it works next time when I'm not high, and if not, we might have to kind of
That's okay.
send Theratrix
Thank you for
away for a little bit.
Thank you
That's
for
okay.
Thank you for trying.
You're welcome. She's like, shit.
He looks at her. She's like, I'm not sending you away. Don't worry.
Oh, Theratrix
Wait,
is like,
just go hide in a tree or
I'm not going
something.
to go anyway. I'm not going to go.
I don't
We
want
are-
you to.
We're the same. How does Eldon feel about the inability to read?
Confused, because I think I've seen you do that with a couple other people. So there's confusion. There's
Not only that, sorry to interrupt, but you did actually see her do this with Valoria Cressida, someone who you have no connection with.
I think the only ones you saw was like when the first time, like in the pool thing where you did kind of like all of us. The one that she did for us, you weren't there. That was like just the girls.
There for when she did Kai.
Right,
Was
and
it? Oh,
and
okay.
she's outwardly said that,
Yeah.
oh,
I
it's
think-
easy for my friends. You know.
Not jealousy, but confusion. Actually, like relief is in his heart right now because whenever Kethra has said, she's gonna all spooky like and with the black eyes and the portents of death and destruction, it's never been anything like happy or good. And Theratrix has already kind of said something a little bit today, so he's like, oh, okay.
Like maybe it's probably not for the best. And Catherine's gonna sit there so confused, like, what is going on?
Because he doesn't know that you saw like the mirror and like the cracking and the.
Theratrix, I'm pissed
Oh
at
no,
you.
Theratrix, baby Theratrix! Oh my baby boy.
And he's already decreed you're going home. So
I know.
He made plans.
Yeah, he made plans without me. I know. He didn't even ask to borrow the fucking car, and he's making plans already.
Technically, you're brothers.
I came first though.
Yes,
I'm
you
older.
did. You're the older brother.
All right. By like 20 years. Thank you for trying, though, to get back to it.
Sorry I couldn't make it happen.
It's okay.
We'll try again. If you want.
We'll see. We'll see.
So the night is upon you at this point. You're exhausted from cutting through all of the jungle greens and wading through little patches of muddy earth as the rain fell all day. It does not seem as though it is letting up, but it's not relentless. It's not like an overpowering downpour. But the night comes. You all are able to find a comfortable enough spot to rest.
Eldon's gonna tie up his thing for the ladies again and the familiars.
Okay.
Even if it means he's gonna sit out in the cold. It just sucks.
I mean, it wouldn't be cold.
Hmm?
It wouldn't be cold.
Even
I mean, when it gets to
I was gonna say, like, even like when it's 75 and it's cold and you're in the breeze coming, right? When it's
And
hot
yeah.
and the rain hits you and you're wet, it still sucks.
Theratrix would sit down next to you, like,
That doesn't bother him.
Yeah,
He's a fucking
like-
dragon. He's badass like
like
that.
Eldon, I'm not going to be underneath that. I am not cold. I am a spiritual dragon.
It's the thought that counts.
It's very sweet of you.
You're waking up every 10 minutes to just do this.
I'm gonna, like, we have, like, I'm a short, like, our clothes have gotten, like, torn a little bit going through it, so I'm just going to, on my clothes and your clothes, I'm going to cast mending, because I haven't used it yet, and just so, like, any tears and frays, I'm like, I want to use this, so just, like, yeah, any, like, rips in your cloaks and stuff, just, like,
Well, I mean, fuck the rest of our clothes, I guess.
you're not over here with me.
You're underneath my tarp.
Mend the tarp so
I was
there's no
gonna say,
holes.
She mended the tarp so that
Oh,
they're not
yeah.
getting rained
No,
on.
she didn't. She did now.
No, I didn't. It's a cantrip. I can do it as many times as I want.
Pow.
All right. You find sleep. Kai's normal dreams plague him, or I guess maybe plague it might not be. This particular night, it's more about walking in darkness in the face and the whispers, the I'm sorries, the I'm jealous, or I was jealous. I apologize. And there's a part of you that knows exactly what she should be sorry for and doesn't care. But a part of you that's forgotten what she should be sorry for, and another part of you that has no idea what she's talking about. Just many layers of emotion, a little bit of confusion, then anger, then confusion again. And that is what kind of plagues you all night as you walk in a void with her face appearing and then disappearing for hours. Kethra, while you sleep, you are awakened in the morning, just as the first light of the woven suns is like filtering through parts of the canopy. The rain has mostly stopped. It's like one of those where it's sunny, but rain is falling somehow. And you have found yourself in Kai's arms as you awaken. And your eyes open, you look up, and you remember these words. In shadows embrace, seek the moon's whisper, where the river meets the ancient tree. Secrets concealed by nature's hand shall guide your path, for destiny awaits beneath the silvered canopy. The letter that you wrote to yourself, and you kind of like look at Kai. In shadows embrace. You recall following, walking at night, coming here, the moon's whisper, that circle that you just had the night before with that ethereal being, where the river, and in your mind you picture like the path that you all have come to, like coming together as a group and weaving, where the path meets beneath the ancient tree, and this huge tree, who knows how long it has been there, but you're looking up at it. And in the light of the day, you kind of bring your eyes down and see that not too far away from where you all are sleeping is the best I can say, it's like a tunnel entrance that leads and looks like it's going down.
Found the rift.
And kind of whispering out loud to yourself, secrets concealed by nature's hand shall guide your path, for destiny awaits beneath the silvered canopy. That half of it you have not yet discovered. But it seems as though whenever you wrote this letter to yourself, however long ago it was, this has led you here. And that is where we will stop. Next session.